Tomorrow, lawyers for the Epstein estate will start turning over redacted documents to the House Oversight Committee. Later this week, oversight staffers will get the chance to see unredacted versions in New York. Also this week, bipartisan lawmakers leading an effort to force a discharge vote, releasing the complete Epstein files, say they're confident they will get 2 more Republicans needed to pass it in the House.
This is not a political issue. This has nothing to do with Donald Trump. This is a moral issue. It's about standing with survivors. It's about protecting children. We have the votes. Let's get a vote this month and get the files released.
There are some people saying that our effort is redundant, that the House Oversight Committee is doing all the work that needs to be done. If that were true, why would the administration and the establishment be so opposed to doing our legislation?
Joining me now is our friend, Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. She's a member of the Oversight and Judiciary Committees. Always good to see you, Congresswoman. So your colleagues there, Khanna and Massie, they're confident they're going to get to 218 signatures despite the intense White House pressure to keep Republicans from joining that effort. Are you equally confident? Do you agree with Ro Khanna? This is not about politics. It's about a morality issue. So what does the Oversight Committee hope to find when staffers review documents?
Yeah, so a couple of things here. I don't know that I'm as confident as they are. I do believe that this is a call to action for the American people, as you were just discussing how upset the American people are on both sides of the aisle. I think that this is a good opportunity for those Republicans that believe that transparency is paramount to go ahead and call their elected representatives. We've seen so many of these senators that have decided that they won't run for re-election because they understand that what Trump is doing overall is absolutely killing their opportunity to seek re-election. So some of these House members, they need to feel the pressure of their constituents. So I say if you're a Democrat or a Republican, make sure you call your House member and tell them that you want them to sign the discharge petition. As it relates to the Democrats, we've all signed, so actually don't waste your time calling us. You're going to need to call Republicans to sign off. I do believe that this is not political, and I do believe that it is a moral issue, because there is no way that you could hear anything that these survivors have said and feel like it's political. In fact, we know that a number of those survivors are actually Trump supporters, and they are so disappointed that he has now decided that this is nothing more than a Democratic hoax. Not to mention, we had the Speaker of the House sit and listen to these survivors in a closed hearing, or not a hearing, but a closed roundtable meeting, and then come out and say that the President of the United States was an informant that helped to take down Epstein. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And truly, it only makes people say, no, we really have to dig in. And this cannot just be limited to Comer, who does everything that he can to appease Donald Trump, being the one that is going to oversee this release. As it relates to what we expect to be in the birthday book that they said didn't exist, I have no idea, but I look forward to seeing what's in it.
So, back on Wednesday, the Capitol Hill press conference, those Epstein survivors, to your point, they shared incredibly emotional accounts of more than 2 decades of sexual abuse committed by Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Take a listen to some of it.
If Ghislaine Maxwell were pardoned, it would undermine all the sacrifices I made to testify and make mockery of mine and all survivors' suffering. That is why the Epstein Files Transparency Act is so essential.
For so many years, it felt like Epstein's criminal behavior was an open secret. Not only did many others participate in the abuse, it is clear that many were aware of his interest in girls and very young women and chose to look the other way because it benefited them to do so.
What do you say to lawmakers who heard their stories and they still refuse to support a full investigation into the Epstein case?
I think they all deserve to lose their seats. I mean, at the end of the day, we swear an oath to the Constitution, and we swear to serve and to protect Americans. And right now, as you just had a conversation about this administration that is not attacking enemies, but has decided that it wanted to be an enemy towards its own American people, this is yet another attack on us. And what type of precedent is it setting? And what is it telling those that are suffering right now as victims as it relates to our elected officials? It says that so long as you have enough money and or power, then you will be protected and not the most vulnerable amongst us. We are talking about people that were children. You played a clip of Ms. Farmer who talked about her as well as her sister that were abused in the 90s, and they reported this, and unfortunately nothing happened to the extent that we had survivors that were giving us testimony as late as 2008 when he was absolutely supposed to be incarcerated in Florida, yet he was still somehow managing to abuse women. We have to stand up. I don't know who's in these files. I don't know if they're Democrats, Republicans, or independents. I don't know if they're donors to any specific campaigns. I have no idea. And honestly, it just doesn't matter. What matters is about doing better for not only these women, but for future generations.
So the Justice Department asked a federal judge overseeing the case to deny a request from NBC News unsealing the names of 2 Epstein associates who received 6-figure payments from him in 2018. That's 2 days after the Miami Herald began reporting about his 2008 plea deal. Prosecutors in 2019 said Epstein had helped protect both associates from prosecution in that plea deal. The DOJ then cites privacy concerns for not making their names public. But I'm curious response to that, because aren't their names already out there?
I would assume so. But it shows you the lengths that this administration will go to protect pedophiles, to protect criminals. I mean, I don't know what the American people thought they were going to get when they decided to elect a 34-count convicted felon, but their privacy? Give me a break. You're talking about, if you paid any attention to any of these survivors, you're talking about women that are consistently suffering because of what they endured. And Epstein is gone because of the amount of connections that he said he had. I mean, when you talk about going to the highest levels, you heard that the first young lady obviously had an English accent. They told us about the things that they were doing as it relates to false immigration papers and false marriages. And you can't get through immigration without the federal government, right? Like, you can't continue to abuse women while you're incarcerated by the federal government unless somebody on a high level within the federal government is assisting you in this. No, everyone needs to be held accountable. And if these women have had to struggle with the nightmares and the hate now that they're getting and the hate that they got before, then gosh darn it, if you ended up with a payday, I'm sorry, but you get what's coming to you.
Give me a sense of what you expect this week, timeline-wise, and when do you think the public will learn more?
Yeah, so I really don't want to put out there and say you're going to get this by this date, right? We know that the 33,000 documents that we ended up receiving in our first tranche, which hopefully, we got a lot more coming really soon, because we didn't say give it to us in little bits. But anyway, we know that we had that within our possession, and it took the committee 3 weeks approximately to release it to the American people. So I really don't have any expectations as it relates to a timeline. I will say anything that can slow this thing down, if it's under Comer's watch, is what we're going to see, is anything that drags it along. And frankly, the person that is directing what happens and what doesn't happen, obviously, is the President of the United States. So this comes down to what it is that he's okay with coming out and when. And frankly, it doesn't seem like he's okay with any of it coming out, which basically furthers suspicion from both sides that he is a lot more involved than anything that he's ever said that he was.
All right, Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, it's always good to have you on the show. Thank you so much.